Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Finally, the monsoon session got over today. With the final day, the appearance of Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah coming to the Lok Sabha. In fact, the opposition took a dig saying that this was out of fear that they came to the Lok Sabha, but as soon as they entered the House, Speaker chose to adjourn it sine die. But after the session was over, we saw a press conference by Kiran Rijiju, who accused the Congress of repeatedly disrupting the parliament during the monsoon session, while several India bloc parties boycotted the customary tea party, which was hosted by the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. Now, while Kiran Rijiju was addressing the press conference, he said that for the first time, we have seen the opposition running away from the debate in parliament when the government wanted the discussions. Congress is solely responsible for unfairly disrupting the proceedings. And Rijiju said that 12 bills were passed during the monsoon session, but only one was discussed in both houses. In fact, if you look at what Congress MP Priyanka Vadra said, she said, and I'm quoting her, that neither the Prime Minister nor the Home Minister came to the House. How will democracy and parliament function? And today, they have just come to sing Vande Mataram. They have come after the entire session has already taken place. Now, the session began on July 20th, and this was marked by repeated disruptions over the neat paper leak, alleged embezzlement of the Ram Temple donations, and police action against the protesting students. Now, the opposition also sought statements from the Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah. The government had offered a debate on the neat paper leak and related issues, along with a reply from Shah, but the Congress rejected the proposal, and a similar effort was seen yesterday as well. So when the session has ended, how do we look at the monsoon session, and is the going to be, and will the going be very tough now for the BJP, including all the BJP MPs who will go back to the constituencies? How will Amit Shah and Prime Minister Modi manage the things? Because we saw Amit Shah and Prime Minister Modi speaking in two different voices. While Prime Minister Modi was addressing the Gen Z by calling them friends, by recording the Instagram reels, Amit Shah persisted with a tough action, filing FIRs, maligning the image of the alleged maligning of the image of all the teenagers whom we saw. They faced a severe backlash. So what will happen now? Will BJP go back to the drawing board? Will they have to rethink totally as to how they will have to do their politics now? Because with the Ram Temple donation, the theft issue coming to the fore, will the Hindutva work? That is question number one. Will they go back to their communal politics? That is another question. If not, how will they, what are the new agendas they will bring in? And if they will reconnect with the Gen Z, is the Gen Z going to believe Modi and Shah? So it's going to be a huge crisis. All these points we're going to discuss. Joining me this evening is Sunil Prabhu, senior journalist and political commentator. Thank you so much, Sunil, for joining, and lovely to have you again back on HW News. And since the parliament session has ended today, and we saw a press conference held by Parliamentary Affairs Minister, where he chose to say that I'm very frustrated, Congress did not cooperate, and therefore there were so many disruptions. But nowhere was he asked, and neither did he choose to answer that it was the government's job to see that the House functions.
Absolutely. I think you've answered that very effectively, because truly the government of the day has to function, get parliament to function. That's why they convene. It is the President of India who convenes, parliament, and it is done after the cabinet passes a resolution requesting the president to do so. The Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs meets and discusses this entire decision and asks the president to convene, and that is why they have a government business, government agenda, their private members, their other bills, and then of course, the opposition says, we would like to raise certain issues and everything else. This session has been one of the worst. It's, there have been terrible monsoon sessions. This is, one of the worst in comparison to probably the only yardstick is 2015, 19%. But there have been earlier cases where, for example, you can talk about when there was the Pegasus issue. And
Also, Sunil, sorry to interrupt you, but also was this one of the worst parliament sessions for the BJP and one of the best, in fact, for the opposition?
well, for the first time, we saw a minister resign.
That's true.
There has never been a casualty of a minister in a parliament session. Here we saw for the first time no less than the prime minister trying to reconnect with that new younger generation, which is now popularly known as Gen Z, taking onto Instagram and saying that you passed legislation in record time. You pass a bill relating to tougher laws to deal with the fact that the paper leaks will be dealt with and there will be action. So it's in that backdrop that we saw a minister resign. So it is in that sense we have never seen the government on the back foot. We have never seen a home minister who's always there in both houses of parliament not being present, not ready to answer the questions as he comes every day, he or the prime minister to Parliament House, but not going, stepping more than 100 or 200 meters away from the office into the parliamentary chambers to answer the questions of the opposition on who authorized, the attack on the students. And as Rahul Gandhi put it out in an article saying that is it pure incompetence or was it deliberate? And it's in that backdrop, I think they realized, and we saw no less than the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha asking the government to have the presence of Mr. Amit Shah to be present to answer the queries. And it's in that context that the final day, when it was clear that Parliament has become a casualty, that there wasn't going to be a discussion. They tried to change the narrative to talk about Jharkhand, where the Congress is in a coalition. And as Rahul Gandhi himself said, my view on the Jharkhand is very clear. Wherever there is a violence, we are opposed to it. So let's not have any compromise. It's not that we haven't spoken. We are not running away from anything. We are very clear and really berating the mainstream media for not asking the right questions, not having the courage and the strength to ask the Home Minister of the day. After all, we are the fourth pillar and we have to be able to have the courage and conviction to ask legitimate questions which haven't been answered by the Delhi police till today. We haven't seen any kind of explanation on what prompted them to be underprepared and to deal with the students in the manner in which they did. So a lot of questions, a lot of back foot. Ultimate casualty is parliamentary democracy. There has been really no bonhomie between the government and the opposition. It's, as I said at the outset, it's the job of the government of the day to run parliament. You convene parliament for it to be run. Don't say you're frustrated. It's your incompetence if you're frustrated. You have to be able to get things going. And you have to be able to tell your prime minister and home minister, we need the opposition to be present there. If they're talking about these
Sunil, since Kiran Rijiju very sharply pointed out that it was Congress which was responsible for the disruption, but you've been covering Parliament for decades. What, in your wisdom, who would be responsible if I were to ask you that who disrupted the House? Was it the government or was it the opposition?
well, both. To be fair to both sides, each one is responsible for whatever they do. The opposition isn't going to keep quiet and play ball with the government of the day if they're not going to get any answers and they're going to carry on with their government business and not have a discussion on the floor of the house on very emotive issues which are hurting the people. One, for example, the construction of the Ram temple. It is a government decision to build the Ram temple. If money has been pilfered during the construction and after that, and you haven't really done any action, not a statement on the floor of the house, then I think nobody's going to keep quiet. For them, it's an issue not only so much about Uttar Pradesh, but it's about the sentiments of cutting across millions of this country, be it Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, or Christians, or any denomination. Everybody wants to know that after all, public money was given. Why has it been taken away? I mean, mere resignations don't answer, and you can't. The example is being given of the students' protests. That was a side issue. The real issue was that they needed to have a discussion on the Ram temple. And as I've been saying, Parliament today hasn't still discussed the exchange of status quo in Ladakh when there was a Galwan incident. We have now we have eyeball to eyeball over 60,000 troops on that plateau region in the Ladakh period, when we haven't had any skirmish as of now, but we haven't had any discussion on the floor of the House that lakhs of kilometers were taken away. What exactly is the position of the government of India? I don't remember, Nilu, ever, even in 1962, when China and India had the 1962 battle, there was a discussion on the floor of the House. Today, when history is written later on, there will be this thing that Parliament never discussed these issues, never discussed Pegasus, never discussed any emotive issue, the Gen Z protest. No discussion on the floor of the House. You'll hear semblance of it, but was there a statement from the government? No. Has there been a statement from the defense minister on China's ingress into our territory? No. Has there been a statement on Ram Temple? No. And the list is innumerable. Clearly, the government also must realize it can't be just passing legislation without and steamrolling it. There has to be a semblance of governance. There has to be a proper discussion. Why is it important? As we've been hearing, for example, the important bills of mines and minerals, which has a centralization of power, or for that matter, this time that was passed, the tribunals, important legislations where everything is taken control of. You can't pass it without a discussion. And that's, I think, the biggest casualty. And for the government, they have to understand that this is completely, a way of getting or steamrolling things has to be done by taking the opposition into control. It's not that Parliament cannot function. They did pass, as you saw, legislation relating to the students, in particular, bills relating to paper leakage and everything else. That was because they understood the writing was on the wall. You have to also understand that the writing of the wall is that people have elected you to discuss on the floor of the House.